you know, I mean, his career there at Leicester, he was the one that kept them up, and Leicester have gone on to great things. But he was the one when they were down and out and dead and buried that got a tune out of them and kept them in the league. So, you know, he's had a really good record as a manager. I have to say, when TC and myself came in, we could see Bo's ability. Never quite sure about his drive to go and do it, push himself on and get about the pitch. And there's some suggest he was a sitter. What is a sitter? Somebody who sits there, and he's got more than that. And the two of us have been barking at him, encouraging him and to do more. And I have to say he has done. He's responded to that. He came back in pre-season. He's been excellent all pre-season. And his performance, you know, that's come from what he's been doing in training with the first team. And I really was delighted with him. He's given me food for thought, yeah. They've all just trained again today. So we've had 24 players and we've mixed it up. We've the train with the first team. They certainly benefit. You know, certainly Bowes, Isaac Davis would have made his debut, but for injury on the last day of the season. And others, you can see them benefit from the physical nature and the way we train and the intensity of it. There's never just a little game that we want to enjoy and nobody wants to win. It's absolutely full on every single session. And I think they benefit from that. So, I do like our 23s being in and around us and being able to train with the first team. But if you've got too many, you can't do it with everybody, then, you know, a lone move is certainly beneficial, because playing in the, whether it be the National League or the, you know, whatever they're playing, is far tougher than the 23s.
Mick McCarthy there discussing his history with derby games. The history of this derby game, bit of a mixed bag, is fair to say. The last 5 games have ended in a win for one team or another without the opposition scoring. However, last 2 games here at this stadium, Cardiff have been on the wrong end of a 1-0 defeat. You spoke to me before we went live, and you think it's going to be a very, very similar encounter to what we witnessed 7 days ago against Millwall.
I do. You know, again, no doubt we'll go into it. Actually, it looks like Bristol City have matched up. I don't think Bristol City possess a lot of pace. I don't think they possess pace to go in behind particularly. So I think it'll be that war of attrition style physicality, particularly in the middle third, and who earns the right to play. Last weekend it was Cardiff City who took over the game in the second half. I'm hoping that's the same today. My one worry, and this isn't a tangible, but it's the fact that Bristol City can almost relax away from home. That horrible Ashton Gate record at the moment. And I watched the game against Swansea last week, and I did think they were poor. They worked hard, Ash, but they huffed and puffed, and there wasn't a whole lot there. But they did have that impressive win going to the Medeski, and coming away from home, that weight off their shoulder of not having a home victory. They can play a little bit more relaxed today. So that's my one concern with Bristol City. But if it is a similar game to last week, Ash, I must admit I do expect a similar outcome.
Seeing the team on your screens there, Rigel Pearson makes 3 changes from the team that narrowly lost to Swansea a week ago. In comes Zach Viner into the right wing-back position. In comes Nathan Baker, so we think to form a back 3 alongside Thomas Callas and Rob Atkinson as well. And also back in comes Andy King into the middle of the park. We assume it's a back 3. If it's not, then it's a flat 4 and Nathan Baker's playing at left wing back. Then if you're Ryan Giles, you're absolutely licking your lips, aren't you?
You are, and again, you and I discussed this off camera. I am absolutely adamant that it's a back 3 with Nigel Pearson showing ultimate respect to Cardiff City, really, and getting an extra body in there to match up and defend against those set pieces, those quality balls into the box from Giles. You're absolutely right. If it's a flat 4, I think Ryan Giles is key for Cardiff City, but then he's always going to be key for Cardiff City. But no, I expect a match-up formation, 3 centre-halves, and that's why I think the first half will be very similar to last week, Ash. I think it'll just be a physical battle, earning the right to play, and that middle third will be key. But at the moment, and touch wood, and you said it before, we finally got a midfield 2 that looks balanced and is winning those battles where maybe we didn't win them before. Joe Rawls and Marlon Pack have been outstanding thus far. Long may that continue today.
Tom Sang had a really impressive game. We've touched on him already at the right wing. I thought he had a really intriguing tussle with former Bluebird Scott Malone on that side. I spoke to him about it after the game. An interesting tussle with him for this afternoon as well. I think he probably assumed that he would be lining up against Jay De Silva, a really fine player at this level. But it's not. They've gone with young Cameron Pring, who's actually been playing ahead of De Silva on the left flank in previous games. So that'll be interesting. The reason being, if you just got to look at Bristol City's Twitter account, and people are questioning where De Silva is, and one of the responses was, well, he's knee-high to my pet dog, and we're playing against three absolute giants in Cardiff this afternoon. Probably answers the question, doesn't it?
It does, and it's a pragmatic selection. I don't think this Bristol City team has a lot of pace. I thought he provided pace last week against Swansea. You had the veteran Simpson on the right-hand side. He just held his position. He wasn't bombing forward. So De Silva was sort of a one-man show trying to get round the side, get round the back. So, yeah, you have to do horses for courses, but I think that's a bonus for Cardiff City that a potential attacking threat there in De Silva has come out of the lineup. And I think Tom Sang, not that he'll be in for an easier afternoon, but I do think with De Silva he would have had to have played a little bit deeper and spent more time closer to his own goal, whereas hopefully now he can influence the game and step up a little bit more. So can understand why Nigel Pearson's done it, but I think that's almost another tick in the box for Cardiff City.
Two players up top for Bristol who are going to have to carry the threat, and they're just absolute pests to play against. And Chris Martin knows how to make life difficult for centre halves in the opposition area. Andrew Weimann is just a tyro, doesn't stop running, and two players coming back from relatively long-term injuries and have started the season with goals as well.
Chris Martin I've always thought of as canny. He doesn't look like he's going to win every physical battle. He doesn't win every header cleanly, but he draws fouls. He holds the ball up. His close control is very good. He knows how to position himself on the centre half. Perhaps he favours for a duel. So I think Chris Martin was always canny. Andreas Weimann, as you say, that Duracell bunny, constant movement. I think he's a very angry man when he plays on a football pitch. He wants every decision to go his way. Look for him to berate the referee all afternoon, but he's perpetual motion, and you've got to be switched on against him.
And equally, if you look at the way they are lining up, it is going to be three in the middle of the park for Uber. Masengo's been impressive the opening couple of weeks of the season after not being so, let's say, for the first 2 years in English football. Matty James is a remarkable renaissance story, and his form last season was fantastic for Coventry and at Barnsley, and he's continued well this year. Andy King's going to play as the furthest forward. But it's the same question again. You can't leave the two of Cardiff exposed. Leandro Bacuna's going to have to drop in and be a three.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we're getting the wrap-up sign, so just quickly on that, I think Leandro Bacuna, another reason why he's in there. I thought Masengo was good against Swansea, as you say, been a bit quiet for 2 years in English football, along with De Silva, one of the players that tried to drive Bristol City forward. There weren't many of them, so look for him to have an influence today. But yeah, if Leandro Bacuna can do the job that Ruben Colwell did manfully last weekend, hopefully Cardiff should have enough in that midfield.
Cool. That's it from John and I on the gantry here ahead of this afternoon's seven-side derby. Kick-off is 15 minutes away here and the stadium's starting to fill up. So we have an interview now with Curtis Nelson, who doesn't speak to the press a lot, so it's a really interesting listen. And then on the other side of these VTs, we'll have live coverage of the Bluebirds and the Robins.
Obviously, we've taken 8 points from the first 4 games, and we're looking to obviously build on that, get the 3 points on Saturday against Bristol. So I think if we can get like 11 points from the first 5, it'll be a good return from the start of the season, I guess, especially with the international break coming up. If we get that win, it gives us a good points tally. It puts us in a great position. Taking obviously the 11 points from the first 5 games, it puts us above that 2 points per game average that every team in the league will be kind of looking for. So yeah, we get to go and rest and recuperate for the next kind of block of games before the next international break. It's weird because obviously we've been used to playing the last, God knows, 18 months or so without fans, and you can hear literally a pin drop sometimes when you're on the pitch and everything's really clear. But having the fans behind you is definitely a lot better than it being quiet, and especially when we go like up and we've got the fans behind us willing us on and almost like dragging the ball into the goal with how loud they can be. Exactly what the skipper said, top 2. I don't think anyone would start a season not expecting or not wanting or like striving to be going up in the top 2. I think you'd be in the wrong sport if you thought otherwise. So yeah, for me it's top 2. We haven't played obviously everyone in the league yet. We've seen obviously West Brom have had a good start and Fulham, and that's kind of to be expected, I guess. But yeah, I wouldn't ever rule us out to be in that pack, and especially from where we've given ourselves a good start so far, and if we can continue that on Saturday, just got to basically just stay in that top 6, top 3, top 4 kind of area. Give ourselves the best chance. Flinty's on fire. He's literally 4 goals, top goal scorer in the league. It's frightening, literally. But the balls in have been brilliant as well. And you know he's always going to be a threat. He's had a goal scoring record's been brilliant, obviously, wherever he's played previously. So it's definitely starting to come into fruition this season. It's both. He attacks the ball so well. He's 6 bigger than me, 6'7". He attacks the ball so well, and obviously the balls that have been coming in have been brilliant as well. And it just it puts him in a great position to just come over the top of people being so tall to attack it. I think if the ball's right and he's been hung up there, defender's not in the right position, or you've not like kind of stop blocked his run or whatever, he's hard to defend against. He's 6'7", 100 kilograms of someone climbing over the top of your back. It's not easy to defend. It's brilliant to have. He's got that instinct. I think he's got that hunger at the moment to keep scoring goals. And keep the ball just keep a bit of a magnet. So I don't mind. So if he keeps putting the ball in the net and keeping it out the other side, that's perfect.
Good turn away from Brian. Square ball to Pilkington on his right foot. What a goal! Anthony Pilkington from 25 yards has stunned Ashton Gate. Bristol City 2, Cardiff City 3.
Following on from last week's opener away at Hull City, Cardiff City's under-18s were back at home for the first time this season, looking to pick up maximum points against Peterborough United. The Bluebirds immediately took the game to the visitors, with Caleb Hughes forcing Will Larkin into a save, and James Kroll was then shut out by the Posh defence. The Hughes-Kroll combination was again in full flow when on 12 minutes, Hughes found his counterpart, who was able to smash the ball home for the game's opener for the Bluebirds. Colin Higginson then went close for the visitors, but his effort couldn't quite make his way into Ben Coley's net. Hughes continued to torment the visitors when he beat as many as 4 Peterborough players to find himself an angle for a shot, which was well saved by Larkin. The golden combination struck again shortly after the interval, with Hughes' pinpoint delivery finding Kroll for his and City's second of the encounter. The visitors grew frustrated and were restricted to long-range efforts to try and force their way back into the match. Substitute Jaffet Mpedi came close to adding a third, but his effort whistled just wide of the post. Bankole troubled so rarely, then did superbly well to preserve his and City's clean sheet with a fine save on 85 minutes. That was it for the encounter, and it was job done for the Bluebirds following last week's defeat at Hull City. Final score: Cardiff City under-18s 2, Peterborough United under-18s 0.
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV. Well, the shooting opportunity. Oh, it's brilliant. Morrison, goal! Welcome back to Cardiff City TV for live coverage of the Bluebirds' home encounter this afternoon with Bristol City in a tantalising seven-side derby with 3 points at stake. And Will, I've traded JP in for a younger model in Will Pallow here. The chance, albeit for a couple of hours, to go back to the top of the championship table. It doesn't happen often. Only happened in the early stages of our last promotion even. You've got to grasp those opportunities when they come.
Yeah, that's what we're all hoping for, isn't it? And it's a great opportunity to do so going into the international break as well. It's a fantastic fixture to have that before, isn't it? And we felt the atmosphere building that from up here on the gantry, a strong away following, and the fans back in the home stands as well. And a really good opportunity with the bragging rights at stake as well to get another positive result. Hopefully keep up that unbeaten league record going into the break.
Because let's be honest, our form over the years coming out of international breaks is pretty difficult to gloss over. But if you can carry some form in and, like I said, have that fillip of being top of the league still unbeaten, that's going to be a massive boost come 2 weeks' time.
Oh, 100%, and it would certainly put Tuesday night result in the cup to bed. Mick McCarthy said there was one eye on this match this afternoon, and of course sights are firmly set now on hopefully getting the result this afternoon against our seven-side rivals. And it just provides so much momentum, doesn't it, even into that group for the players that go away over the break. When you come back, you know you're in that position unbeaten, and hopefully that's one that we can continue. And in terms of Phillips, you couldn't ask much more for Cardiff. Sean Morrison fit to start, Kiefer Moore back in the starting lineup. Never in doubt, is it? Sean Morrison, we always know. I mean, we saw him back. Speaking of derbies, he got through that match away at Swansea last season.
Pretty much ended the season though, didn't it?
Yeah, but he was always going to be available for this one, even despite that injury on Tuesday night. So great to have him in there at the back. He adds so much in that back three, doesn't he? So much of a reassuring presence to have. And then Kiefer Moore leading the line, exactly what you want in the derby.
Sorry you're seeing so much of us on camera at the moment. We expected to cut away to the pitch by now, but the tunnel walk, for whatever reason, is taking slightly longer than normal. Bristol City then, sticky opening to the season for them. They impressed, I thought, against Swansea a week ago, but couldn't get the result. Couldn't find the goal. Couldn't get the result to match.
Yeah, and Mick McCarthy and Terry Connor were there on enemy territory to watch them against Swansea, and I think Mick McCarthy said that they'd impressed. Really came out the traps quickly at the beginning, but then afterwards, once Swansea managed to get that goal, they just wrestled control of the game away from them and kept the ball. But if Bristol City do start this game like they did that game, then they're going to be a handful early on.
Well, they should be a handful. It should be a similar encounter actually to a week ago. 3 teams playing 3 big centre halves. Set pieces are going to be crucial. I can barely hear myself think. It is still a surprise to have fans back in. It's astonishing to have this atmosphere again.
Oh, it's just brilliant, and it brings so much back to a derby match, doesn't it? We obviously had some good battles with Bristol over the break. They got the better of us here. We did at Ashton Gate on 2 occasions without fans, but this atmosphere will just bring a little bit more of that derby edge back to it, won't it?
It's not been a fixture that's been kind to the Bluebirds in recent seasons. Have lost their last 2 fixtures here at Cardiff City Stadium, but the inclusion of Sean Morrison and Kiefer Moore in the starting lineup from Mick McCarthy will allay a lot of fears over a 3rd consecutive defeat. It's Joe Rolls and Marlon packed together in the middle of the park, as it has been for the first 4 fixtures of the league season. They've been magnificent. They've set that bedrock. They'll need them to be again this afternoon. 3 changes for Nigel Pearson off the back of that defeat to Swansea. Zach Viner comes into play at right wing back. Nathan Baker returns to the back 3, and there's a space for Welsh international Andy King in the middle of midfield. That graphic might tell you it's a back 4. I'll be very surprised if it is. If it is, Ryan Giles is going to be delighted running to Nathan Baker. We think it's a back 3 with Cameron Pring playing at left wing back instead, and Andrews Vyman and Chris Martin forming a very experienced front 2 at the Championship level. Aidan Flint, a man who knows this opposition very, very well indeed. There's a number of players in this Cardiff squad that know this opposition very well indeed, but Aidan Flint is in the form of his life. 4 goals in his last 2 league games, and very, very nearly added to that tally as well in midweek against Brighton. A game that otherwise I shan't be mentioning much, because that's the good thing about going out to the Cup very early doors, is you can avoid it altogether and just concentrate on league form.
But yeah, it's been some start to the season, hasn't it, for Aidan Flint, and I'm sure he'd love a goal or 2, as is customary now this afternoon. Of course, he scored 15 goals for Bristol City in one season back in 2014-15. That was in League One, as he pointed out, but there's a target to aim for this season.
Yes, it was a frequent goal scorer, has dropped off a little bit, as you'd expect from a player who's been in and out of